Welcome into the In the Money podcast for Saturday, November 23rd. Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Wagering Development. We take a look at the late pick 4 at Aqueduct on Saturday, which includes the grade 3 Red Smith going 1 mile and 3/8 on the turf for 3-year-olds and up. This is usually a race that attracts a big field, as it has this year. Got a horse that was a nice stakes winner, the Sycamore, at the Keeneland Fall Meet. Marzo shipping up there for Mike Maker. Got Sadler's Joy that has a class edge on these, Jim. Where did you go in the Red Smith?
Yeah, I went with the Sadler's Joy. When we picked this for your pick of the week earlier in the week, I didn't know what kind of field we have. It generally has a good full field here. Sadler's Joy is just the class of the field. Now, he hasn't won since March of 2018, so it's hard to play him with that much confidence, except for the fact that he's been in exclusively grade 1s and grade 2s since that time. This is a grade 3 at 1 mile and 3/8. He's 2 for 9 at distance. He's really good at 1 mile and a quarter to 1.5 miles. And, the last 3 speed figures are 102, 103, 104. If he runs 105, he's going to win this race. If he drops back and maybe in his 4th race off the cycle, he drops a little bit, nobody else I see on the pages recently has run 100. Now, Glorious Empire ran a 108 back at Gulfstream on a good turf course back in December of 18, but hasn't done that this year. So Glorious Empire is the only horse in here with comparable speed figures. So I'm going to go with Sadler's Joy. I'm going to use Glorious Empire below him just in case he gets back to that level. He's 1 for 1 at this distance. He won in 1 mile and 3/8 on a soft turf course at Saratoga. So if there's give in the ground, I think you have to look at Glorious Empire moving up there with Sadler's Joy. But if they get this rain that we're getting, the latter part of this week, they get it on Saturday, it might be soft, so you might look at Glorious Empire as a good play in there as an alternate to the 7. But the 7-11 exacta box looks awfully good to me. I'd also use the Petit Fields. I'm not good on my French, but the Christophe Clement first-time North American starter, the 2-horse, Tis a Slam, the 1, got plenty of gate speed. Don't know if he can carry it 1 mile and 3/8 against this bunch or not. But and also the Marzo, the horse that you mentioned coming out of Sycamore, looked really good at Keeneland. So he said that Sadler's Joy is going to be a short price favorite in here. Can't really go against him in my mind unless there is some give in the ground. Then I would take a long, hard look at Glorious Empire.
I'm going to go with Marzo just on the angle of a horse that has really improved for Mike Maker. Second start in the Maker barn, won the Sycamore, looked good doing it. On speed figures, Sadler's Joy stands out on class, but because, as you said, he hadn't won in so long, and it's the end of a long year, I'm going to try to beat him with an improving horse in Marzo. And I'm going to use some others. I'm going to key on Marzo. Certainly got to use Sadler's Joy with him in the race. Tis a Slam and the Clement first-time U.S. horse you mentioned, Petit Fields, however you pronounce that. And I'm going to include Nakamura as well, who ran second in the Sycamore, and Graham Motion in these long races is always dangerous. So I'm going to key on Marzo within the race, and then I'm going to use all 5 of those when we get to the pick 4. So I'm going to have to narrow down somewhere else, which we'll start with now. It starts in the 7th race, 7th through the 10th. 7th is non-winners of 1 other than 7 furlongs. Next race is non-winners of 2x optional claiming on the turf at 6 furlongs. Then the stake, and then they finish up with a New York bred maiden claimer going 6 furlongs. In the first leg, I ended up focusing on 2 horses. Free Enterprise had a 101 in the maiden win. Thought about even singling there, but the 5 is first time with Jason Service, and that's got a high win rate. And then Irad Ortiz takes the mount, and he is having a really strong meet at this fall meet at Aqueduct, or winter meet. So 5 and 7, I'm going to use those 2. In the 8th race, Albertville, second off the layoff for Clement. 7, Got Mother Arose. Had an 86 buyer 2-back and then got in trouble last time. So if this one runs back to that 86 buyer, could be right there. And then I'll Handle the Cash I'm going to include as well. Although all 5 I mentioned in the Red Smith, I'm going to have on my pick 4 ticket. And then I'm just going to try to have 4 shots in the last race. Surprise visit, the 4 is Mike Rapoli stable and the owner, and Ortiz rides, Irad Ortiz. The 5's Wild Banker, and its second start over the track, and Ravelli's pretty sharp at picking his spots. The 9, Imperio, drops out of Straight Maiden Company. And the 10, Blue City, got a good race on the track or at this level. So I'm going to use 4, 5, 9, and 10 in the last leg. So 5, 7 with 6, 7, 8 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 with 4, 5, 9, 10 for $60. What's your ticket look like?
Well, mine's going to be a little different because I'm going to single Sadler's Joy in the feature, so I've got some money to play with here otherwise. I'm going to go 5 by 6 by 5. So first race, I couldn't make. I know you only went too deep here with the 5 and the 7. I got to use Sugar McGahee's horse. Got a lot better last time out at Gulfstream. Hasn't run since February, but he gets them ready off the layoff. I think this horse is a shot. Fast Talking, Double Orb had a 90 buyer in his maiden breaker in June at Belmont. Again, it's been off, but I love Manny Franco, so I'm going to use those two. I'm going to use Charlie McCoy for Michelle Nevin with Johnny Velasquez up. I'm going to use Kong Style, the 5 for Jason Service, and 7. Free Enterprise is going to be the favorite, I suppose. But I couldn't narrow it down that much. I thought, the 101, if he runs back to that, he wins. But there's no guarantee of that off a maiden win. So I'm going to go 5 deep there. Second race is a nice allowance race. I couldn't narrow it down very much either. I actually go 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with Get Mother a Rose, the horse that you mentioned, probably my top pick. But Miss Mystique, Honey I'm Good for Velasquez and Asmussen, the Clement horse, Albertville. I think you can go a lot of different ways here, and this might be an all race if you could narrow down the other ones. I'm going to single Sadler's Joy in the 9th race, and then the last race I've got 5 bullets left with a $75 budget. I'm going to use Unbridled John, the 2, the 4 Surprise Visit, first timer for Rudy Rodriguez, the 5 Wild Banker for Manny Franco. Horse has been out twice and got a little bit better second time. Then the 9 and the 10 Imperio D for Rodriguez, the other one that Ortiz takes, and Blue City, the 10 on the outside for Linda Rice. So my pick 4 is 1, 2, 3, 5, 7 with 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with 7 with 2, 4, 9. 2, 4, 5, 9, 10 for $75.
Yeah, when I wrote down my original numbers, I also had the 2, 3, and 4 in that first leg, and then I wanted to try to go against Sadler's Joy and kind of talk myself into trying to hit a bigger price, and so to do that, I had to cut the ticket down. So that's how I ended up at 5 and 7 in that first leg. I'll feel real good if I can get through that leg. And then, of course, I'll do that, and Sadler's Joy will win at even money. But always the way it works.
That usually happens.
Best of luck with the wagers. We should tell folks, because by the time we hit the next podcast, some of these races will have already occurred. Thanksgiving Day is always a big day at Churchill Downs. So that'll be a good day for folks that after the turkey or before the turkey, they want to sneak out to the simulcast facility or play through Keeneland Select. There's usually a nice card on Thanksgiving Day at Churchill, and then the Clark. And they've got Coup Stakes, I think, and then the Clark is the main stake of Grade 1 on Friday.
On Friday, yeah, it's a great weekend. A lot of people do Thanksgiving lunch at Churchill Downs. I was trying to talk my wife into it, but she just won't get away from cooking. And I think it's a good idea to go up there and play the horses and have somebody else do the cooking for you. But that I can't talk her into it yet. But I keep trying every year.
One of these days. A good friend of mine, he and his family do that every year. So if you're in the Louisville area, might be something to think about. In the meantime, best of luck this weekend with your wagers, and we'll see you next time for another edition of the Get the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.